Maybe before maybe get a reaction from Moitalelo Kina, back to Koitalelo Olekina, yes, and just back to your arrest. There was a bit of a grey 8-9 hours between the time you were arrested and by the time you were produced at the CID headquarters, and you appeared to vanish. All the cameras were waiting at the entrance of the CID headquarters, and we just saw you in court. What happened in between these 8 hours?
I was not arrested. I was abducted. About 10 or so armed people came to my hotel. They put me in a car. They drove into a police station, but I was not booked in that police station. Once I was put in that car, I did not put my foot down, other than for short toilet breaks in the middle of the forest, of the road, from Mombasa, until the CID headquarters in Nairobi. That's where I was. It took from about 11 to about 8 o'clock in the morning. But I was not arrested. Up to now, other than sort of that trumped up charge sheet, there is no record in the government of Kenya that I was under arrest. There is nowhere you can go and find a place written that I was arrested and for suspicion of the one offense or another.
Maybe to put it in simple terms, what was your experience from the time you were...
We drove up and down the road from Kwale to Mombasa twice. We drove up, we stopped in the middle. There were some consultations. It did not appear to me to be a planned and well-coordinated event, because there seemed to be people giving contradictory orders. So we drove up the road, stopped in the middle of the road. We went back. We drove up again, stopped about 2 or 3 times. We did not actually get started on the trip to Nairobi until about 11.
Was anybody speaking to you?
No, I was not speaking to them, so they couldn't speak to me because I wasn't speaking to them.
Well, perhaps why this question is not going away is that the public was very, very, very concerned, especially about your safety. Just the other day, Msando disappeared, and we all know what happened. And I remember seeing your mother at the lockouts before you were released. She was also very traumatized. So there was all this question of what are they doing to David Ndii? That is basically why this question is not going away.
My own sense is obviously that it's it's intimidation. Many people here are familiar with it. We were victims of this in the 80s. It is going back. I mean, the sense you got was one, there was no plan, because there was no crime. In fact, by the time I was through with what was supposed to be an interview, you could see that the officers were actually quite embarrassed because they really had nothing. By the time I was being released, it was a matter of trying to get sort of rid of you and get the thing over with. So it was meant, I think what we're seeing is an attempt to intimidate, to go back to the use of force. I think it was a test case, particularly related to intimidating this committee, because the timing was very much related to the timing of this committee. And we don't think it's over. I think Jubilee administration, we were told by the Deputy Vice Chair, he said that on several occasions, that we are going to see a very different President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is going to be very, we will nyorosha people, as we said. So this is probably their way of saying that they are going to do that. But I think it's also a reflection of people who have run out of ideas, because what we are doing is politics. And politics is about ideas and debate and reason. We have made it very clear, everything we have done, we have made it very clear that we are within our rights, our constitutional rights. of assembly, of dissent, of exercising our sovereignty as people. Everything we are doing, but they are unable to deal with that. And when you see somebody who can no longer talk to you and he throws a fist, it means they have run out of reason. They can only turn to fists. And the fists have never sorted out anything.
Very well, I think Vincent Afande is requesting that you do something in Swahili. I'm not too sure about that.
Something years before and then just a short one.
Very well.
The moment.
There are laws and procedures.
Yes.
They were not followed. So if you ask, there should be an inquiry of this nature. But mine, I am here talking to you. There are people who have lost their loved ones. I think those are the ones we should be concerned about, because we should be concerned about the more concerned about the faceless, if I may use that word, victims of extrajudicial killings, the ordinary families, the people who do not have people like the media and my colleagues here to speak up for them. So this is those are the people I think we should be concerned about, because obviously, at some point we know that these sort of regimes do get to a point where they eliminate their political opponents. But before they get there, they will have killed and maimed and incarcerated many ordinary people who are easier to intimidate.
Just that moment, the decision.
There's no decision.
Walk along with them,
There's no decision. People, if you have 10 people with guns. And they sort of have identified themselves as police officers, and they sort of shove you into a car. There's really no time for debating. This is not sort of crime TV. This is actually a goon squad.